couple of extras in now. So if you're not on mute, just put yourselves on mute, because there is a couple of people with a little bit of background noise, but obviously when we do questions at the end, you can unmute those, and do feel free to ask any questions in the chat as well. So before we start, I better introduce myself. Some of you might know me. I do recognise a couple of names actually on the meeting this evening. So my name is Becky, and I run Teaching Talons, which is basically a mobile zoo and animal encounters. However, if you did want to see any animals this evening, I'm afraid you've missed out on that, because that was at our 4 p.m. workshop, but of course it will be on YouTube. So if you did want to have a look at the animals we had a look at and talked about and learned about earlier, then that will be on YouTube as well. But what we're doing this evening is we're going to be talking a little bit about just ways that you can reduce your plastic waste and live sort of closer to a zero waste plastic free lifestyle. First thing I need to clear up straight away is there might be some of you watching in this Zoom this evening that actually live a far more zero waste plastic free lifestyle than me. You might be further along in your journey. So I just want to say straight away that I am not claiming to be an expert. I'm not claiming to be perfect. I'm not zero waste. I'm not vegan. I'm not plastic free, but what I have tried to do over the last 2 years or so now is just slowly make small changes to just start to be a little bit more eco-friendly and to produce less plastic. So I'm not perfect. And of course, if you guys, if I say anything and you actually have a better idea, or I've completely missed something out, please put it in the chat, because really this isn't about me sort of preaching I'm perfect, because I'm not at all. This is more about sort of sharing ideas. Hopefully I might give you some ideas you haven't thought of, or I might give you a swap that actually you think I can implement that quite easily, as opposed to me sort of saying this is how it's done. So do say if you think of anything that I haven't thought of, or that's better than some of the swaps that I have. And as Corey says, do pop any questions in the chat and we can cover those, or at least I can answer them as best I can. So the main thing I thought I'd do this evening is just bring lots of sort of the changes and plastic swaps that I've already brought along to show you guys. They're not limited to just one thing. So if I show you a particular brand or company, there will be other options out there. The prices might be different, or one might be slightly greener than the other. So that is worth having a think about as well. So don't take what I say as gospel. And I think we'll just start really, I always like to start with sort of the eco-friendly handbag, as it were, or man bag for some of you. So things that you might want to actually just sort of carry with you and take out all the time. So the first is obviously one we're getting in the habit of now, which is our reusable bag. So just always make sure you have a reusable bag in your own bag or rucksack, attached to your bag. I've got some of the little clip-on ones, and I always keep a couple of bags in the car. It's quite easy to get caught out, but we really don't want to be buying these 10p bags anymore. So obviously the charge has helped to cut down that use, and they are designed to be reusable and even returnable if they rip, but the reality is most people probably aren't. We're quite lucky in Bedfordshire, or at least in central Beds where I am, you can just pop them in your general waste, general recycling, sorry. Whereas some areas don't recycle things like carrier bags, but really we just don't want to be having any more of those in production and going out potentially into the wild or into landfill where they'll never break down. So then there's the things you might want to have in your bag. So for me, and I've got to find everything because my table is covered in stuff here. First thing I always have with me is a reusable straw. Luckily now, plastic straws are banned, thank goodness, along with things like your plastic cotton buds. But still, if you've got your own straw with you, so much easier. It just means you're not creating any waste at all, even a biodegradable straw. And I quite like these. I've got funky little purple rainbow ones. Purple is my favourite colour, in case you couldn't tell. Also, just things like bamboo cutlery, or even sometimes I just have a set of metal cutlery in my bag to just take home and wash. And you know, if you are going to pick up something like a salad and they're going to offer you disposable cutlery, you don't have to use it. You can get in that habit of saying, I don't need any cutlery if it's from a takeaway, and then you've saved yourself that little bit of waste there. And then perhaps the easiest and most obvious that most of us might do already is things like your reusable coffee cup and your reusable drinks bottle. So these are great. Again, you'll get all different brands and products. Some you might find are better and more efficient than others. I've actually got a Nespresso machine, which came with this really handy Nespresso cup, and that actually keeps your drink really, really hot for a really long time. I'm one of these people that forgets my hot drink and opens it up hours later. So for me, I do need one that is going to be really well insulating. It's really easy to wash. We've had this for a couple of years now, and then we use the Nespresso recycling scheme to actually return all the pods in their specially designed bags. So if you are a coffee drinker and you have a pod machine, fear not, there are ways around it. I think if I turned around to my husband and said, look, I'm banning the coffee pods, you can't have a coffee machine anymore, there would be hell to pay. So yes, Nespresso do have a really good recycling scheme. And then the bottle that I use is a Chili's bottle. I think Chili's are probably one of the best known brands of reusable drinks bottles, and they are really good. They do keep your drink cold for a really long time. You do have to put it in cold. You know, there's no point putting lukewarm water and expecting it to get colder in the fridge. It won't. But if you make your bottle up with cold water, this will stay cold for about 24 hours. So again, always got it in my bag. You can refill it out and about, and it just stops you being like, oh, I'm thirsty, I need to go get a drink, and buying that single-use plastic bottle. Yes, it's recyclable, but only if you actually find a suitable recycling bin. And plastic does have a limited recyclable life. So even if you were to get caught out and buy yourself a single-use plastic drinks bottle, eventually it will reach the point where it can no longer be recycled and reused again. So these are just really easy habits that if we could all change, it will make a huge difference, the amount of coffee cups and plastic bottles that aren't going to landfill or eventually not being recyclable. And as well, if we're all doing this, that's going to speak a lot to places like cafes and coffee shops. It's going to say a lot to the supermarkets and the companies that make these hundreds and thousands and millions of coffee cups and drinks bottles. So well worth changing, because of course, the idea of my talk being not perfect is that one small change leads to a big change. So all of us starting to take out our reusable coffee cup and saying, hey, can you put my drink in this, please? Not buying a plastic bottle, that will then have a knock-on effect and lead to bigger changes. So I think they're always a really good one to start. And then after talking about things like in your handbag that you might want to take around with you, again, if you've got other ideas for that, pop them in the chat. Has reminded me of another one, of course, very relevant to the time. But hand sanitizer, you know, lots of people are now buying these little handbag dispensers of hand gel. And yes, really important to have that on us all the time. But do we want to be buying a little single-use bottle each time? So again, there are lots of different options out there for hand sanitizer. The one that I personally use, and I love it, but I haven't tried any others. But I'm a big fan of the Beauty Kitchen products. They do a lot of products for skincare, as well. I suppose this is skincare really, but this is a 62% alcohol-based hand sanitizer, so it is effective against COVID-19. And I buy it in these, as you can see, quite big. I think they're 500ml bottles. And then from Beauty Kitchen, you get like a little perfect handbag sized aluminium pump bottle that you can just refill from this. So this is what I use for teaching Talons now as well. So we buy these big bottles and then we just refill our little spray bottles for at the bookings. And it's more like a mist than a gel. So again, it stops you sort of accidentally pouring. I'm sure you've had it when you've accidentally poured tons of it out. It's dripping all over the place. It takes forever to dry off. Because it's a mist, it's actually much easier to control. It's got aloe vera in, so it's nice on your skin. And I'm a big fan of this. The kids love it as well. They all say it smells like either sweets or mint. So it doesn't have that typical alcohol gel smell to it. So yeah, I really recommend, if you haven't sorted your sort of plastic free / more eco-environmentally friendly hand sanitizer, then do look into the Beauty Kitchen one, although I am sure there's other options out there. Other great thing about these bottles is they have their refill, return and repeat scheme. So you can actually post these back to Beauty Kitchen and they will all be sanitized, cleaned out and used again. And if you don't want to post them, you can also pop them into any Holland & Barrett store and they will take these aluminium ones back. And on top of that, you do get some nice points on your Holland & Barrett card. So that's a great one. And they do quite a lot of plastic-free products in there anyway. So moving on from handbags, after I just had that little brainwave, I'll talk more about the swaps that I made first. So I started to make changes to be more eco-friendly in the bathroom, first of all. And actually the thing that really kicked it off me, the thing that really got me thinking, this plastic waste is insane when I actually thought about it. was actually sanitary products. So, you know, us women have a period every single month. Some of us probably for a week at a time, changing things like pads or tampons multiple times a day. And all of these pads, all of these tampons, they're made out of plastic. They have a plastic applicator or a plastic wrapper. They might even come in a bigger plastic packet than that. And when I actually sat there and thought about how much period waste just me alone must have put in the bin during my years of having a period, I was like, this is absolutely mad. And I'm surprised it's even allowed to have all these products filled with plastic. And I just thought, pretty much every single woman that has a period is creating this waste. And if you think about that globally, it actually blew my mind a little bit. And I think that is the thing with going eco-friendly and reducing your plastic waste. It can sometimes feel a bit overwhelming and like it's all too late, there's nothing we can do, we're all doomed. So I think you have to take a step back from that and just make that one little change, which is what I did. So I'm a pad user, so I switched to reusable pads, and honestly, they're great. You can get all sorts of funky little designs. Here's a little dinosaur one, and they have the buttons on, so they still just clip around your knickers. So easy, and you just stick them in the wash. And honestly, there's nothing gross or disgusting about it. It's just like reusable nappies. You just chuck them in the wash, doesn't matter. If you're not a pad user, you can also get things like the Moon Cup, which is basically a menstrual cup. And that just literally comes out, washes, reuses it. I don't use them, but I have spoke to lots of friends that have now switched to that after seeing me switch. And they've all said how easy it is. They don't feel it at all. And no regrets, basically. So yes, if you are a woman watching this that has a period, then I would definitely look at that. And that is a huge amount of plastic, literally every single month, that you will be stopping from going to landfill. So definitely well worth investigating that. And I didn't know this, but Corey actually told me that it is Environmenstrual Week coming up soon. I love how Corey knows more about these things than me, but that's coming up at the start of October. So I think it starts in just under 3 weeks' time. And that is, again, raising awareness. There we go, nice link there. So that's raising awareness about the plastic waste that time of the month can create. But yes, it does lead on to also things like incontinence pads and, like I mentioned, nappies as well, which are all huge amounts of single-use waste. It's about finding things as well. If you see something in your life that's single use, that you're just using once and chucking in the bin, just take a step back a minute and think, actually, is there a different way I can do this that's going to produce less waste, or that's going to be reusable? You can just buy plastic-free pads. I don't think I've got any down here, but the Naturacare ones, they sell those in all sorts of shops, Waitrose, Tesco's. And again, they're just a good, handy alternative to have. You know, sometimes you don't want to be carrying spare reusable pads in your bag and then having to have your used one in your dirty bag to take home. So actually, sometimes it's nice to just have the Naturacare ones, which are single use, but they are plastic free. So after that change, after changing my whole period habit, PS, I have now had my first set of pads that I bought for over 2 years, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. They're still absolutely perfect. So they might cost more to start off with, but really in the long run, they are going to cost you less than single-use products. The next thing I changed was toilet roll. I did have one. Here it is. There's too much stuff on this table. Again, there is lots of options out there, and people will debate which ones are better for the planet, which ones are worse, which have a smaller carbon footprint. So that really is going to come sort of down to you guys. Look into things yourself, make your own decision. You might want to look into things like cost, the carbon footprint, the amount you get in an order. There's lots of things that will influence what you go for. But I use Who Gives a Crap, basically because they were the first ones that I found and chose. I thought the branding was quite funny. I like these cute little wrappers, and it works well for us. It comes on a subscription, so we were never, ever going to run out of toilet roll during the initial lockdown when everyone went a bit mad, because it comes in about 48 rolls a box at a time. So we were all set for that. And I just like the way they look funky in the bathroom. I stack them up. It's a little bit of a talking point. They sometimes do limited edition ones. So at Christmas, we had one with letters on. So we still write funny messages in the toilet for guests now, with toilet rolls, as you do. So for us, this works well. Some people won't want these for the reasons that I like them, such as the wrapper. So to some people, they will say, well, why do they need to have this wrapper on them? I reuse them for the animals. So we make crackers for them with the toilet rolls and the wrappers at Christmas, or we might just wrap some of their biscuits and treats inside them. Animals like the ferrets and the owl just like to play with a scrunchy ball of paper. So for me, it's fine because I reuse them, but some people wouldn't like this fact that they're individually wrapped. They're also made out of bamboo. And again, some people don't like that. So even though bamboo can be sustainably farmed and it's eco-friendly and it's biodegradable, obviously that is going to have a bigger air mileage, 100%, to actually harvest it, turn it into toilet paper and get it to your door. So you might want to choose something that's made out of perhaps a sustainable wood pulp instead of bamboo. And I know there are brands of eco-friendly toilet roll that are made and produced in the UK. So again, for some of you, that might be better. But for now, I'm sticking with who gives a crap? I do. A lot of these companies also do stuff for charity as well. So these guys actually donate 50% of their profits to actually help build toilets in places that need them. So some of them have nice little bonuses like that as well. So I'm going to move on to a totally random order now, and I'm just going to look at things on the table and pick them up. But leading on from who gives a crap, I then discovered the joys of the cheeky panda. Again, it's bamboo. Some people won't like it. I don't know where to stand, so I'm not sort of hiding myself and the banner. So cheeky panda do loads of different things. It is bamboo. Some of you might not want it for that reason, but for me, it works well. All the packaging is plastic free, or it's recyclable plastic packaging. I now use reusable makeup wipes. I'm a big fan of face halos. Again, I've had these for a few years now. They will eventually reach the end of their use and won't be as effective, but again, you can turn them back to face halo and they will reuse and recycle them and do something else with the material so they can go back. And these are great for taking your makeup off, but sometimes I can't be bothered to go to the bathroom and put my hot water on it. It literally will take off a full face of makeup, even waterproof mascara, just with water. But you know, you could just use a flannel, but I'm fancy, so there we are. But if I'm not in the mood, I also like to use the Cheeky Panda face wipes. So these are in plastic, but it is fully recyclable plastic packaging. The thing you have to look out for that we got into talking about last time, that some of you might remember if you were here, is to do with, if I show you, the little plastic number on the back. It's not reflecting very well. So this one is a number 7, which is fully recyclable plastic. But whenever you see that little recyclable looking triangle with a number in it, it's to do with what the plastic makeup actually is and how recyclable it is. So it is well worth looking up those different numbers in that little sort of triangle and what they all mean, because some are far more recyclable than others. And that's why these are better than sort of the old packs I used to buy in the shop. But again, I try not to use too many. It's more just if I'm in a rush or I'm tired, or maybe I'm going away for a while, these are great. But this is the kitchen roll that I've got in front of me here. So I switched to this. You can buy kitchen roll that you wash. So again, just like the pads we were talking about, the nappies, flannels for your face, etc. You can buy kitchen roll that they kind of clip together with buttons. They're quite cute. They look nice. You can get little patterns, have them on your normal kitchen roll holder. But for me, we get through a fair bit of kitchen roll, and my husband's very messy. He would use about 1 million if I had like little pad ones. I'd be washing them all the time. So this just looks like your generic normal kitchen roll, but the packaging is completely plastic free. This is completely biodegradable and it's made out of sustainable bamboo. But again, you will find UK versions that haven't got the same sort of air miles that a bamboo product would have. So that's another one. A lot of the swaps that I've made are either in the kitchen or more to do with sort of health and beauty. So things like cotton buds, luckily, again, like the plastic straws, plastic ones are now banned, but you can get a lot of really, really good bamboo cotton buds and they will biodegrade. And I go for a lot of refills when it comes to bathroom stuff. When I started, I used a lot of shampoo bars. Effique is a really good brand as well. I have a lot of hair. It's hard to tell when it's all plaited up like this, but my hair is very, very long, very, very thick. And I can get quite a dry scalp as well. So what you might find if you switch to shampoo bars, for those of you that haven't tried them before, is it can take a while to find one that works for you. Some of them can make your hair feel quite sort of waxy or almost coated. Some can make your hair feel quite dry. So it's going to depend on you and your hair type. The other thing is, they're not an easy swap. If I'm brutally honest, having experienced this a lot, you have to stick with it. So it might be you have to get through a couple of weeks of your hair adapting to actually not having all these sulfates and chemicals that are in your bog standard shampoo, and to actually having a shampoo that's just made of natural product. Your hair does have to go through a bit of an adjustment period. So you might have to put up, I'm afraid, with having sort of waxy or greasy or just funny feeling hair for a while. But if you stick with it, eventually your hair will get used to it. And again, it might just be that you need to find a brand that works for you. So I really like the Ethique products, all of them, the body washes, the cleansers, the shampoo bars, conditioner bars. I also really like the Lush Honey I Washed My Hair shampoo bar. That was my favourite. But again, like I said, sometimes you have to look at sort of your own opinions and ethics. And for me, in the end, Lush wasn't for me, just because they obviously support a lot of charities and they do a lot of really good work. But they're also anti-zoo and anti-captivity. So for some of you, that might be fine. But obviously for me and my job, I am a zookeeper by trade. I believe in high animal welfare and good zoos with the right meaning behind them. And it's kind of what I do. So I can't really be buying products from someone that actually funds shutting me down. That would be a little bit ironic, wouldn't it? No worries with having to go. Yeah, definitely catch up on YouTube if anyone does have to leave early. On the same line, things like soap, you can get lovely soap bars quite easily in plastic-free packaging with all natural ingredients that aren't going to wash down the plug hole and make their way into our waterways and eventually our oceans and cause any problems. I do like a liquid soap. I haven't got one here with me, but there's some great brands like the Bauer Collective, and they'll either sell them in sort of pouches like this that you can refill, and then once you have a few empty pouches, you send them back to them, and they have a closed loop recycling system, just like Beauty Kitchen and the aluminium bottles. I am now moving away from these because to me, they are still plastic, even if it's recycled. So I prefer to try and find the aluminium alternatives. But even buying in bulk can actually save you a lot of plastic waste. So again, for teaching Talons before I discovered Beauty Kitchen, I would buy big 5-litre tubs of things like hand soap and hand sanitizer. And although it's in a plastic tub, it was a recyclable tub. And overall, if you split that 5 litres into the little single-use bottles, that would be a hell of a lot more plastic than buying it in bulk. So this is my newest discovery that I'm so excited to talk about. And a lot of you may have noticed this, but the Body Shop have now introduced and have running their refill scheme. So I picked this one up at the Bedford Body Shop store. Now, the Bedford one is a small store. I don't know if anyone's been in there. So they have just a limited range of products. They just had, for example, the one shampoo and the one conditioner. And they've got the ginger one. But the bigger stores have a lot more choice. You could actually choose from a few different shampoos and conditioners. And what I like for me and my hair, even though I did battle with the shampoo bars and did get on with the Lush Honey I Washed My Hair and the Ethique ones in the end, can't beat a liquid shampoo for me. There's some things that are hard to change. So it does have a plastic pump, but obviously you pay a deposit scheme on your bottle and this can go back to them, be reused and recycled if you ever don't need it. And I have to say, even though I wouldn't normally go for a ginger shampoo, and I was kind of disappointed that this was the only choice, it is brilliant. This is the only one I have for now, but I am excited to go and try the other products like the body wash and the hair conditioner. And I know at the larger stores, from looking at other sort of eco warriors pages, you can get some of their other products as well that you'd normally have to buy in a single-use plastic bottle or pump or jar. You can get in the refill scheme, and it's fab. You go in, it looks great, it's a really cool display. You can fill it up yourself or they'll fill it up for you. They've got little stickers they stick on so you know what you've bought, but again, these are biodegradable and come off really easily. And some of the bigger stores have their own little cute stickers that you can just have, because why not? Who doesn't love a biodegradable sticker? So that's my newest discovery, because I'm at that point now where a lot of the changes that for me are going to fit within my budget and my lifestyle, I've already made them. So I still get excited when I do find something new. So yes, need to investigate this more, but very excited. Sticking with the bathroom, things like brushing your teeth. So you can easily switch to a nice little bamboo toothbrush. My problem with these is they still haven't got a completely biodegradable bristle yet. As far as I know, the only thing they found so far is like pig hair bristles, which are completely biodegradable, completely natural. But obviously, if you are a vegan, which a lot of people that care about the environment and the amount of waste and plastic they produce are, you're not going to want to be brushing your teeth with pig bristles, funnily enough. So a lot of these are nylon, which don't biodegrade. So the idea is you would snap the head off, put that in your general waste, and then you would compost your wooden or your bamboo handle. So not an ideal solution, but still better than having a whole plastic toothbrush that will sort of change every few weeks or every couple of months. I do now use the Terracycle scheme quite a bit. Hopefully most of you are familiar with Terracycle, but they will cycle lots of different streams of waste, and most of the collection points will then actually make money for charity as well. So they're great for things like crisp and confectionery wrappers and packets, but there is also now a Terracycle scheme for dental waste. So we use electric toothbrushes in our house because personally we just feel they brush our teeth better and they're better for our dental hygiene, although I do still have a bamboo for travel or for emergencies. But what we can do is actually return the heads through the Terracycle scheme and they'll be recycled. So kind of the best of two worlds. You can also get, I think they're called Cocoa Live or Cocoa Live toothbrush heads that are compatible with the Oral-B ones. And again, they're designed to be a little bit more environmentally friendly. And toothpaste is a battle, guys. I am not going to lie to you. So I think the best solution is probably the toothpaste tablets. You can get them with or without fluoride in. Again, it's a little bit of debate and it's going to come down to personal opinion if you do or don't want fluoride in. It's supposed to help with anti-cavities. So again, my husband's like, no, if you're making this eco swap, it has to have fluoride in. So you can get the tablets with or without. Personally, though, we just don't like them. I was very stubborn for a while and pretended that I absolutely loved toothpaste tablets. But in the end, I have gone back to a normal tube. But again, it can now be Terracycled. So you can go further with it or less further with it. It might depend on how far into your journey you are or how far you want to go with it. But I am back on a toothpaste tube now. But if you can get used to the chalkiness and the unusual texture of sort of chewing the tablet and then brushing your teeth with it, then they are a good alternative. Things like Dentabs, they're called, are one of the best ones. You can also get things like more mainstream eco-friendly toothpaste. So this is the Colgate Smile for Good. And again, it's designed so that the tube is actually fully recyclable. So even though it's plastic, it just has those plastic numbers we were talking about earlier, where it is actually recyclable. And this is obviously a non-shiny, fully recyclable, biodegradable box. But again, some of these big corporate companies like Colgate, on the whole, aren't necessarily that eco-friendly. And what you will find on this sort of journey to zero waste and making changes is a lot of companies are now doing something called greenwashing. So at the minute, it's cool, it's trendy, it is in to be eco-friendly. And not everybody's really thinking about the bigger picture. They just want to jump on that train of, hey, people are trying to save the planet, and they're not always getting it right. So although this might be a sort of good product, there might be other things Colgate do that obviously we don't approve of. So that is something to think about as well. So with the toothpaste tablets, Sylvia, Dentabs, they're a really good one, and you can get them on most eco-friendly websites. I'm not sure if places like Holland and Barrett sell them yet. I used to get mine from a website called Peace with the Wild, which does a lot of really, really good products and swaps. And I think the Ethical Superstore probably sell those as well. But yeah, Dentabs, they're my favorite. They were the main ones that I used, but they weren't quite for me in the end. Deodorant. We haven't talked about deodorant yet. Loads out there. And this is one of those when you start your journey, and it's probably one of the earlier things that comes to your mind, like your sanitary products, your toilet roll and things. And then you start looking into these eco-friendly plastic-free deodorants, and they're really expensive. I mean, has anybody ever spent 10 to 15 pounds on a deodorant stick or a block? Because I personally haven't. And if you have got to sort of watch your money and you've got a limited budget like I do, this is one of those that kind of makes your jaw drop and you think, oh, I'm not making that change. But there are other options out there. The problem with this, again, is it's a little bit like the shampoo bars. You might find that you've got to try a few different ones and they're actually not right for you, or you feel like you still smell, or you're still sweaty. A lot of these don't stop you sweating, but they stop you from smelling. But again, if you don't get on with it, you're going to feel like, you know, the smelly person, which nobody wants to be. So again, if you're spending 10, 15 pounds on a deodorant, you don't really want to have to buy 4 or 5 of them before you find one that works. So it's a trickier one, but the best thing to do is jump on some of the zero waste plastic free Facebook pages, like the Bedford one, and see what other people like and use, because that kind of sorts the wheat from the chaff a little bit. And at least, you know, if you're spending on a product, you're trying one that you can see has been recommended and works for a lot of people. This is Ben and Anna. This was one of my favorite ones that I bought. But what I actually do now is I make my own deodorant. So again, a lot of these beauty products like moisturizers, body washes, deodorants, they're the kind of product that you might even want to look into making it yourself, especially if you're quite sort of a natural person or quite a crafty person. You might enjoy making it yourself. So I tried a lot of deodorants. They were quite expensive. Some worked, some didn't. I even had like a Himalayan salt block, which actually worked really well and will last you forever. So well worth the investment, but you're not getting a nice fragrance from a salt block. It doesn't have a smell. But yeah, I make my own deodorant now, and I bought a few of the ingredients with me. So Akala is a great website for picking up things you might need to make your own body butters, face creams, moisturizers. So this was my giant jar of coconut oil that I bought. I've been making my own deodorant for a couple of years now, and as you can see, I'm literally only just getting to the bottom of the jar now. And if you buy things like, this is their shea butter. So their shea butter comes to you unrefined, and you don't need it to be refined. It just means that basically it's less wasteful, it's pure, it's more natural, it hasn't had all these processes done to it. And it comes in this lovely wax paper just tied with string. And again, you can't feel it obviously, but this is still quite a weighty block of shea butter. You don't just use this for deodorant as well, you can use this to make lots of different products. And again, like I say, I've been making my deodorant for a couple of years. I just bit the bullet and bought a big bulk load. It's got quite a long shelf life on it, and it's still going strong. So if anyone is interested in making your own things, have a little look online. Akala will send you a little ebook as well that will have some little recipes to get you started, and a few other websites will do that too. My deodorant recipe, if anyone is interested, which, you know, it's still tweaking it here and there, because what you will find is if the temperature is too warm, it will get very, very soft and can even melt. So that's one thing to watch out for. But for mine, I make a big bulk load up at once and then keep the extras in little sort of paper muffin cases in the fridge. But I use 40 grams of coconut oil, 40 grams of that unrefined shea butter that I just showed you. And I then add to that 40 grams of arrowroot powder, which you might have seen in baking before. I think they use it as like a thickener, which is why it's good in the deodorant. I haven't found a way to buy arrowroot powder plastic free yet, but I basically buy it in a big bulk recyclable pouch, because again, the waste is less overall. And I get that from a little business on Etsy. And then to the 40 grams of arrowroot powder, you add 70 grams of bicarbonate of soda, which obviously helps with deodorizing. And then to fragrance it up, you basically just add essential oils. You want to add about 20 to 25 drops of essential oils. And really that's up to you, but you want to think about obviously what's going to work in a deodorant and be safe on your skin as well to be used as a deodorant. So for me, I like to use lemongrass, tea tree, oils like lavender. They're all really nice. And literally all you do is just melt your shea butter and your coconut oil down over a bain-marie, stir through your arrowroot powder and your bicarbonate of soda, and then add your drops at the end. So as I say, if I've got extras, I'll put them in little biodegradable paper cases and keep them in the fridge. Or if not, what I actually do is, from back in the days when I used normal deodorant, the twist up bottom deodorants that, you know, are full of hard plastics that's not going to be recycled and would normally go in the bin, you can use those again over and over and over and over and over. So I happen to have a couple of twist up deodorants in the cupboard, and when I ran them down to empty, I literally just washed them out and refilled them with my deodorant mix, set it in the fridge, and I have honestly refilled those 2 single-use twist up deodorant packs so many times I've lost count. I couldn't even tell you, but the point is they're not broken, they haven't degraded in any way, and they're completely reusable, yet we've been made to think that they're, you know, just something to chuck in the bin. So yeah, have a go at making your own. It's lots of fun. If you do have a go at making your own deodorant or any product, do share your recipes as well on the Bedford page, or when this goes up as a YouTube video, pop it in the comments, because it's always great to share ideas and also to see what people think of those different things. I think I've gone through most of my main swaps, to be honest with you. The main thing is just going through the pouches and things. There's lots of different things you can get. So I know I already mentioned this one. This one was a body wash. But you can get kitchen cleaning products as well. I know I haven't gone into the kitchen too much. You've got Splosh and Small that do a lot of things. They do things that you can use for washing your clothes, dishwasher tablets. This one is a kitchen cleaning spray. I'm a huge fan of Iron and Velvet as well, which you don't have to worry about the pouches and returning them. So Iron and Velvet come in a little tiny cardboard box through the post. You pick what product you want. So for example, an antibacterial kitchen cleaner, a bathroom spray, an oven cleaner. And then inside your box are these tiny little sachets, like a little tube. And literally you just pop it into your refillable spray bottle with the correct amount of lukewarm water. You shake it and the whole capsule just completely dissolves and mixes with the water and turns it into whichever product it is that you've just bought and mixed. And I think they're really reasonably priced too. So again, if you don't fancy the pouches that are concentrates that you sort of mix and send back, then something like Iron and Velvet or Ocean Saver are well worth looking into. Ocean Saver are the same, they're little degradable pouches. One thing I haven't mentioned, which is a great change, and I forgot to mention this, I think, in my last workshop, but if you shave, get yourself a safety razor. So obviously, years ago, this was the only razor you could get. And then, of course, plastic became invented and we all started buying these plastic razors. So this is a really old school style safety razor. But honestly, it's so good. It gives such a close shave, and it is scary to use at first. I won't lie to you. I was scared of cutting myself, but watch some videos, learn how to use them properly, and it's so easy. You just let the weight of the razor do the work. They're quite heavy, they're quite satisfying actually, and easy peasy. So get yourself a safety razor, and then literally your razor blades are all recyclable. You just buy a little pot to keep them in until it's full, to go in the recycling at the tip, which you won't need to do for years and years and years, trust me. And that's a great little swap. This one is from Mutiny Shaving Company. They're kind of piratey in their branding, and I'm a big pirate fan, so that was the one for me. Their shaving block that actually came free with this razor as a little starter pack is still going strong as well, and it works really well. It foams up really well, smells really nice, doesn't dry your skin out. So yes, highly recommend a safety razor, and I do really like the Mutiny Shaving Company as well. And last but no means least, let's talk about lunch, basically, because I'm going to have my dinner after this and just got food on the brain. But there's loads of lunch related items you can get. As I've already mentioned, you've got things like your straws, taking your cutlery with you, but I've got a little eco-friendly, reusable lunch bag. Of course, naturally, it has animals on it. It's a cool bag as well. It can go in the wash. Really, really easy. I did have a cute little snack or sandwich pouch that, again, you can just stick in the wash. But actually, I managed to accidentally put that in a tumble dryer and melt it. So I can't show you that one today. But, you know, that would have lasted me forever if I hadn't been an idiot. You can also get these lovely little sandwich wraps too. So if I'm taking a sandwich to work, instead of wrapping it in foil that's going to get dirty and therefore can't be recycled unless you work really hard to clean and dry it, or in cling film, which again, unless you can really clean and dry it, can't be recycled, get yourself these cute little wrappers. And literally, it's got Velcro on it on both sides. So you would just literally place your sandwich in the middle, you fold it up into a little square, Velcro it shut, and that's your sandwich ready to go. So it's just little things like that. You probably wouldn't even think twice about wrapping your sandwich up in cling film or foil, or shoving it in a carrier bag, but get yourself a little lunch bag and a little wrapper, and you've instantly made your lunch completely eco-friendly, really. So that's probably about it with me. I don't want to bore you all to death or completely overwhelm you, which is exactly how I felt when I first started looking into period products and the amount of plastic waste in the world. But hopefully that's given you guys a few new ideas or swaps and changes. And even if you come away from this and you just think, actually, there's one little small change I can manage there, then like I said earlier, all of those small changes do add up to one big change, and that can ultimately speak to these bigger companies as well, and the government that needs to make these bigger changes in order for us to basically save the planet and stop swamping it with plastic. I haven't even talked about shopping because I've been looking at products, but again, just try and shop plastic free. Buy loose fruit and veg, shop local, get local produce, go to the local market, go to your local plastic free shop, refill things like your pasta, your rice, your grains. If you are a meat eater, take your own tubs with you to things like the deli counter, to the butchers. Most of them are quite happy to fill your own tubs, and you've got no wrappers or waste at all. So I get the milkman as well. That's a great one. He delivers my eggs and my milk. It's supporting local farming if you're not a vegan. And you know, those glass bottles can just be reused over and over and over. We just leave them out for him. He takes them back, sterilizes them, and uses them again. So just as I said, I was out of ideas, there's a few more. So all that's left for me to say really is thank you so much for coming this evening. I will have a little scroll in case I've missed any questions in the chat, reading of which we are so lucky to have the store in Bedford. We've got refills as well locally, which is Phil, his name, Phil. We love refills, and he'll deliver it as well. So maybe if you can't get out to the store in Bedford, it might be worth looking into places like refills or seasons fruit and veg, places like that. So yes, we are very lucky. If you're in Bedford and you're just starting your journey, we are in a good area to do it. And we have good recycling facilities as well. In general, we can recycle a lot more things that others can't. So look into our local refill, reusable, plastic-free shops, and look into our recycling streams, and look into Terracycling and all the different drop-off points as well. And as always, of course, to Corey and Plastic Free Bedford, thank you for having me back again, and I hope you guys have all enjoyed it.
Brilliant, thank you very much.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions? Do feel free to unmute yourselves.
I've seen as well that the store actually sell the toothpaste tablets with fluoride as well.
Yeah, I've put the link in the chat.
That's great to know.
Yeah, they're by Eco-Living.
As much as I want to, it's a bit out of the way for me. So if there are no questions, you are free to go. It's not like you're in detention. I'll keep you for extra time, although I'm sure I could think
I
of
will just mention some of the other things. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Let me just stop the recording first.